Alright, so welcome back guys, or welcome to this your first time here. I'm Vision here with Blind Entertainment, bringing you guys another video. Today I'm giving you my review for The Walking Dead, Season 10, Episode 6, Bonds. Now if The Walking Dead is something you're interested in, don't forget to hit subscribe button down below and hit that bell icon. That way to miss any more Walking Dead content from me moving forward. Now let's begin. The first story I want to talk about is the one regarding Eugene and the radio. Now, for comic readers, you can kind of already tell where this is going. And for any spoilers for any TV only fans, I'm not gonna get into any big ones, but this is gonna connect later on, probably next season, regarding a community called the Commonwealth. Now that's very interesting and exciting, especially given what happens in that story arc. I know a lot of comic fans weren't that big of a fan of that story arc. However, I feel like the TV version could be a lot better. So I'm very interested to see what they do with this. Again, the conversation was just generic. It was like, okay, that's cool, nothing exciting, but it was very fun to see what they could do with this story arc moving forward, and very interested to see what this could do for Eugene moving forward. Meanwhile, back at Alexandria, Sadiq returns, learning about the sickness from the last episode, to find Dante trying to work with these patients. There was this one patient that I really liked the banter between there's this old lady and Dante. I really liked that. I thought that was kind of funny. I like when they do something like that. It's different, and I just kind of found it kind of humorous and just fun entertainment there. But Sadiq returns, he goes to check on Rosita, who's also sick, and they decide to bring her back to the medical, back to get treated by both of them. Now, once they do return, however, Sadiq realizes that the sickness is a lot worse than he had originally thought, and realizes that there's something else going on here, and that he needs to stay, even though Dante had earlier told him to go and be with Rosita. So he ends up staying, and for a bit it looks like they kind of got the sickness under control, and him and Dante have this little back and forth chat about, their doctors and stuff like that, which didn't care much for. It was okay, but could have gone without it. But later that night, while he's with Coco, he begins having hallucinations again. Now, this is where I got annoyed and kind of frustrated with the show. For 1 second, you got him sitting, I think it's in some chair somewhere, and then it zooms out and he's standing at the, I forget what it's called, the windmill or whatever. Now, my question is, how'd he get there? Was that hallucination? Was he walking? Like, that made zero sense. I hope it is explained in the next episode. But to me, it just felt really weird and just out of place. So I hope that they explain it next episode. Meanwhile, we got Carol and Daryl going out on another mission. Now, Carol decides that she's going to go out and try to look for Alpha's herd. She originally tells Daryl that she's just going out hunting, and he decides to go along with her. However, she does later reveal her true motives. Now, this is the arc where I'm mixed on, because I really liked what they did with these two. However, some of these scenes just felt like they dragged it on too long, and it just got boring after a while. Now, I liked the thing between her and Daryl about Connie. That was fine. Him not trusting Carol, that was fine. But some of the other stuff, I got bored and wanted it over with, but I have to wait for the episode. It just got boring. So that's just one of my biggest cons here, is the Carol and Daryl stuff. Now, I like how they brought back up Mexico from the original episode or premiere. I did like that. But again, just like that episode, things just felt like they dragged on way too long. I just needed something else to go on here. But they then decided to cross the border to try to find the herd and destroy it, after they see a group of Whisperers leading some walkers to what they presume to be where the herd is. So they go off to do that at night. Now, this is an interesting part of the episode, which I did like, is that they go out there, they split up into two, both of them go their separate ways. Carol is almost spotted because the Whisperers hear him, and Daryl is almost caught too, but he uses a walker and covers himself with blood, which I like how they brought that technique back up. That was a really cool thing, but the Whisperers end up not finding them and heading out. Now, meanwhile, Carol ends up finding one Whisperer and captures her to keep him as a prisoner, which I did like, and I did kind of like how Daryl was wary about the idea and didn't totally like the idea, but then finally went along with it. I like that. It was a good part for the episode, however, it just felt like some of their stuff just was too long, and I needed a break from it. We could have gotten more stuff with Negan, maybe Michonne, and it just felt like way too much and just dragged out. So that's my biggest con with the episode. Finally, the biggest plot of the story is the Negan arc. Now, Negan has been captured by the Whisperers, as they saw at the end of the last episode, and he's being brought back to the camp. Now, this is one of the things I got frustrated a little bit about, is Negan's smart, he knows about the Whisperers, yet he continues to run his mouth. And Beta finally does what I think that should have been done originally, is bag his mouth instead of cover his eyes, which I liked how they did that. Just that stuff annoyed me, because I feel like Negan's a smart person and should have known better. But they end up bringing Negan back to camp, and Beta talks to Alpha and says that he sees Negan as a threat to Alpha, but Alpha spins it and thinks that Beta's more worried about his own position as the second in command, and Beta kind of says that's not true and kind of pleads his loyalty to Alpha. So I did like how they did that. That felt genuinely realistic, especially given Beta's character. So I did like it, and I really liked how they showed Beta bowing to Negan, or to Alpha, and Negan watching it. I did really enjoy that. I thought that was a nice touch to the episode. Then you got Beta taking out Negan to train him per Alpha's demands. Now, I really liked the moment where he brings up how Beta was bowing to Alpha and how he used to have people bow to him. I really like that. Just coming like interesting scene. But then Beta takes him out to the woods and tells him to start digging a hole. Now, I like these scenes. Now, my only issue is they show him digging this hole and another whole montage of him doing whisper activities. Now, I like the scenes. However, my one biggest con, again, similar to episode 4, is the music just felt off and weird. Again, it just felt like it didn't fit the tone of The Walking Dead. I get they're trying to do something different, but the music just didn't feel like it was correct, and just felt like it needed to be fixed and done something different with. But then you got them finally, they cook a pig and then they decide it's nighttime, so they're gonna eat. So you got Negan who goes up to Beta and asks for food. However, Beta denies him since he sees Alpha or Negan as being one of the lower ranking people. So Negan leaves and goes and sits, and he sits next to this other Whisperer who gives him food. I really like that scene. It just kind of felt funny, and just how Beta denied him food, yet one of the other people ended up giving him food. I kind of like that scene. So Beta takes Negan out later that night, and they end up having this conversation, and Beta wants to get rid of Negan, but Negan's telling Beta, you know what, you better kind of get used to me, because I'm staying, and I want my mask, and stuff like that. And Beta just turns around on him and says, you know what, you're right, you're not leaving. And he ends up gutting his own Whisper, which alerts the walkers around him. I think they were herding up more walkers. I think that's what they're doing here. But which causes the walkers to turn, and Beta ends up escaping, but Negan is surrounded, and he starts having to kill all these walkers. And I like how they did that scene, and I like how they added like him just trying to fight them and the walkers surrounding him. It added some tension to the scene, even though we knew Negan would make it out alive. But you then have him returning in the morning, and Beta's just telling Alpha, you know what, he wasn't as strong as you thought he was, and I took care of him. However, I like how he returns, like he's got this stick that looks like a bat, so I really like that touch, and he walks up to them and just demands his mask, and he bows before Alpha, and I really like the scene how like the Whispers start emerging and starts gathering around the three of them, and Beta's just watching as Alpha is kneeling, or takes Negan as he's bowing and just tells him to shush. I really liked how they ended the episode, a really cool way, and just really loved the Negan stuff. If I had to give this episode a ranking, I'd probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. I think it was a very good, strong episode. Some of the other stuff felt like it was a little waste of time. However, at the same time, the Negan stuff pushed it up a little higher, so I gotta give it points for that. Some of the other stuff, like the Daryl and Carol stuff, felt like it dragged on. But overall, I feel like this was a strong episode. So yeah, guys, that's my review of The Walking Dead Season 10, Episode 6, Bonds. Now, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and share. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and hit that bell icon. That would miss any more Walking Dead content from me moving forward. And you can go follow me on Instagram and Twitter, which are linked in the About section of my YouTube channel. As always, it's been Vision here with Blind Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.